what we're going to explore tonight is the basics of Facebook. And if you've got Facebook, you'll probably perhaps already know, but there's almost three main things you can do on Facebook. When you create a Facebook account, then it automatically creates what's called a profile. So you sign up, and you have to give your profile a name, which obviously normally is your personal name, and you have a profile picture, and people obviously include lots of things about them, things that they like, and people will share pictures and posts and all the rest of it. So that's your personal profile. So Facebook has something called a profile, and that's when you can add people as friends. You can say what your marital status is. There's obviously all sorts of things you can do, and that's the personal profile. That's what is set up when you first sign up to Facebook. But what should us as churches be using? Should we have a profile? Well, I would suggest that not, because profiles are, say, a personal thing. Profiles, it's usually something that is taken up by an individual person, and it's about adding people as friends. Whereas what Facebook also offers you is something called a page, and it also offers Facebook groups. And I'm going to take you onto Facebook soon, and I'm going to show you exactly what they are. But I think as churches, we need to be focusing more on having a page first and foremost, rather than a profile. And I'll explain this as I go, but it's basically because having a page gives you some advantages. A page is, if you've not seen one, it's basically like a website on Facebook, and organizations, businesses, when they're on Facebook, they usually have a page, and it's different to a profile because pages are operated from profiles, if that makes sense. So someone who has a profile can create a Facebook page, and I'm going to show you how to do that tonight. And that person who's created that page automatically becomes the administrator of that page. And that means that they can change the information, the pictures, they can share things from that page. And it's with pages, there's not that need to send a friend request as there is with a profile. A page, people could just like it and follow it and get the updates without having to go through that barrier of requesting to be the friend. So that's why we recommend having a Facebook page, because it is more of a public platform, is a Facebook page. And so it's perfect for churches. And it also offers you things such as the analytics. So this picture here is of what's called the insights. It's the analytics. So when you have a page, this gives you all sorts of information and data about who's interacting with your page. And it can be quite useful to see how many people your pictures or your videos, etc., are reaching, and how many people are interacting with those. I'm sure if you're in a church and you're doing live streaming and things at the moment, you're doing that on a Facebook page, you'll know what I'm talking about. And we're also going to look at what groups are, because groups, again, are slightly different. They're more of a closed forum. So we're going to look at Facebook now. So let's just explore what they are. I'm going to take you onto my Facebook account. I'm just going to talk you through each of these things, and then I'm going to show you how to create a Facebook page. Is that okay with everyone? Brilliant. So I'm just going to unshare the screen again. Right, and then I'm just going to take you. Oh no, I need to share the screen. And take you onto my Facebook. Hold on. Okay. Brilliant. Hopefully you can all see that. So this is my Facebook. I've got two accounts. I've got like a works one and a personal one. So this is my works account, which is why you'll get lots of Dices of Lead stuff on it. But this is basically when you sign up to Facebook. I know some of you will have Facebook profiles already. Some of you might not. But this is what you get when you create a Facebook profile. So this is my profile homepage. And as I say, when you've got a Facebook profile, you can add friends, you can follow churches and pages and organizations. And this is called the timeline. So all these things are appearing because these are from pages that I've liked. So the Church of England, for example, I've liked their page. So when they share something, it appears on my timeline. And the people who are perhaps following your church page, it's the same for them. On their personal timelines, they will see your posts because they've liked your page. And so this is the timeline. And if you're friends with anyone and if they share anything, then it will appear here as well. This is the public square, as it were. This is where all the posts are shared. This is where everything happens. And I can take you onto, if you click onto your profile name, this takes you onto your profile page. And mine doesn't actually have a lot on it because this is a works one, and I've got one friend on it, but I just use it for work, so I've not got any friends added. But I've got a little profile picture. This is just if you've not got a Facebook account, this just gives you a bit of a flavour as to what a Facebook profile looks like. But as churches, we're not really going to focus so much on just a profile because that's more for personal use. As I say, we recommend that if you're a church and you want to get onto Facebook and you want to make the most of Facebook, then what you need is something called a page. And I'm just going to take you onto the Diocese of Leeds page. And so this is the Diocese of Leeds page. And I'm an administrator, so I'm one of the people who has access to be able to edit and post from this page. So with pages, only administrators can share content. So it's quite a controlled environment. You can't just have anyone posting things on your page. It's just the administrators. And there's only, for the Diocese of Leeds, there's myself and there's another 2 people who are administrators as well. So we work together to on the Diocese of Leeds page. So as you can see, the page is slightly different. It's similar to a profile in some ways, but it's more the face of an organisation or a business. So you can see here there's the profile picture. This is called the cover image, this big image which appears at the top. And then you can see as we scroll down, this is the Diocese of Leeds timeline, as it were. So basically all the posts that were shared, all the videos, you can see that this is something that we shared only 3 hours ago. So you can see that we've shared an image and it's got a link and some text as well. And then here's some of our videos as well that we've created and that we've shared. And I could keep scrolling down and it's in time order, so I could just keep going. And this is basically all the content. And you can see as the administrator, you can see the amount of people that have liked a certain post, and you can see how many people the post has reached. So when we talk about reach, this basically means anyone who the posters that they've seen this post on their timeline, and that counts them as someone that this post has reached, if that makes sense. So you could say 143 people have seen this. It doesn't mean that they've all clicked onto the link and spent a lot of time reading it. That's probably a lot smaller figure, but it just gives you a bit of an insight as to what, if you're an administrator of a page, this is what it gives you. And so you've got that, you've got at the side here, various options. You can look at the posts that you've shared. You can, as I say, look at the videos that you've uploaded. So again, you can share videos as a page, and videos are really effective on social media. And we're going to talk a bit about that when we talk about what you can post on Facebook. And then you can look at the photos, the about section. This is a really important section. So when you create a page, or if you have a church page, it's really important you keep this up to date. So you can see it's a bit like a website. And you can see that this is the about. It's got the category, so it tells you it's a religious organisation. You've got the name, you've got a username. So this is what you give to people. This can be referred to as the handle. So the page handle, this is what you give to people if you want them to be able to find you on Facebook. But you've got things like, we've got the telephone number, we've got an email address, we've got the website, we've got our other social media platforms like Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. we've got a little section here where you've got like a little blurb almost about the Diocese of Leeds, and you've got this little thing which is like your story. So again, this is like a little blurb, just a little introduction as to what the story of our page is. So that's a page. Hopefully that gives you a good idea as to what that is, and you can see that on the right here, there's lots of information. I mean, you probably just need to go away and look at this yourself if you're not familiar with a Facebook page, but you can see that it tells you how many people have liked the page, how many people follow it, and there's various bits of information on here. So that's a page. And then quickly, I just wanted to show you a group as well. And so this is an example of a group that we've set up. This is a camera club. So we just set this up. The idea of it is basically that people can join it. So a group is I mean, there's different types of groups. You can have what's called a private group, which it's what it is. It says on the tin, really. It is private. So only those who are members can see what's shared in this group. And you have to request to join the group. So it's much more of a private, it's like a forum, but you can create public groups which anyone can join, and you don't have to seek permission. It just depends how you want the group to set up, but you can see that it's got so many members, and so this is about just sharing pictures from across our diocese. It is like a camera club, and you can see that there's various images that people have shared from their churches. And it's just like a nice little enclosed community. Brilliant. And so that's a Facebook group. I know that I'm touching it really lightly. I'm only scratching the surface, really. But if I go back onto the page, I just forgot to say as well that when you've got a page, you can do, I mean, there's loads you can do. You can do things like, I'm sure some of you will have been doing this at the moment, doing live videos. So live streaming, you can do live streaming. You can create events. So if you've got church events, this is why pages are so effective, that they offer the opportunity to be able to create events, and you can advertise events. You can even link to like Eventbrite, so you can sell tickets through this event page. It's got a lot of functionality, and you can even add job adverts as well. It's got lots of things that it offers you. That's why we do recommend Facebook pages. Brilliant. What I want us to do now is just to quickly, I mean, just before I move on, actually, has anyone got any sort of questions or anything just before I carry on speaking? I'm aware that I'm speaking a lot at you, and has anyone got sort of anything?
Are there any storage size limitations for Facebook pages?
No, not that I'm aware of. You don't have that same issue as, I know if you create a website or something like that, there's that whole thing of issue of storage. But Facebook, it's all on their platform, you see. So it's all within their servers, and so there's no limitations like that. So you can have you can create a Facebook page whenever you want. It can create as many as you want, I think, and it can have as many followers as you want. Yeah, there's no limits with that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Anyone else quickly, just before I go back to sharing the screen?
Can you link to Facebook sites, sort of like a personal one and a church one?
Sorry, say that again, Judy.
Can you link, if you've got a personal site and a church one? Can you link those, or?
So they're not the. I mean, so if you've got a personal profile, and if you're an administrator of a church page, then you do sort of have a link. So when you log onto your Facebook profile, you might have seen on mine, there's the shortcuts on the left hand side, and you've always got that link to that page because you're an administrator. And so you sort of have that link, but there isn't really a way of merging the two, if that makes sense. They're quite separate. I mean, you can, if you create a page or you're an administrator of a page, you can invite your friends to like it or to follow it. So there's some sort of links, if that makes sense to it. But does that answer your question?
Yeah, I've seen some of my colleagues, like the Reverend Joe Blogs is at Holy Trinity.
Yeah, so that, I think what they're doing is on your personal profile, let's say you visit Holy Trinity, then if they've got a Facebook page, you could, that person could write a post or update their status, and they can tag the church in their status. So they could say, "Oh, I'm going to church tonight. And they can put that in their post, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when people, if you've got a Facebook page, people can, they can post and tag you in their posts. It's called, and they can say that they're going to your church, and so that's what that is. I can see that there's one from Helen about hashtags. We're going to move on to hashtags when we talk about Instagram, because they do relate to Facebook, but hashtags I'd say are more relevant to Instagram. So we're going to talk about that later, okay? But I'm just going to go back onto sharing my screen, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to create a Facebook page now. And I'm just going to take you through. It's very quick and easy, and so I'll show you how to do that. Just go back onto my Facebook. Here we go. Right. So if I wanted to create a new page, if I was a church and I just wanted to start up a page, this is how you do it. You can see at the top right where my cursor is, there's a button called Create. If you click on that, then there's various options appear, and you can create a page, you can create an advert, you can create a group, an event, lots of things. Obviously, we want to create a page, so you click on that. Now this appears. Basically says there's two types of pages. Now I must admit, I'm not sort of fully sure what the exact difference between these two are, because they're both pages that you create. I suppose as a church, you're not really like a business. I mean, I don't know, I suppose you could class a church as a brand in some ways, but it is more like a community thing, a church, isn't it? So I suppose I'd suggest to do a community or public figure, but I think a business or, but I don't really fully know what the exact difference is, but let's just go for community or public figure. So you give it a name. I'm just going to call this Test Church, but I'd obviously recommend that you give it the name of the church that people will know, and obviously I know that I've seen some church pages with names, and people have even put like the postcode and things within the name, which I never quite get. I think you just need the name. It doesn't need to be like, like too long with loads of details. It's just like the church's name, so people can easily find you on Facebook. And then category. Now it's a church, so I'm going to put a religious, religious organisation or like centre, I suppose. You'd put. I mean, you can even put your address if you put a religious centre. I'm going to actually put our Diocese of Leeds address, church house, just for the fun of it. So it's Leeds. I'm not going to put a phone number. I mean, you can tick to don't. This option says don't show my address, but it's a public thing as a page. So I guess you just want to make all your information open. Change for some reason. Okay, there we go. Continue. So it's just gonna load. Just thinking about it. There we go. So it's as easy as that. I've now created a page. Now, it doesn't mean that the setup is finished. The page has been created, but you can see it's a bit blank, and it needs a few things added to it. So there's things, it needs like a profile picture and a cover picture. the profile picture, this is to have here. I'd say the profile picture needs to be something that's recognizable. So your church might have a logo, for example. I know the church that I attend has its own logo, and that's obviously part of like the church's branding and things. So I'd make sure that your logo is there if you have one, but you might not have a logo, which is fine. So you got to think, what else can you have as a profile picture? I'd say your profile is something that needs to stay the same or change very infrequently. So try and choose something that's very representative of your church. And as soon as people search on Facebook and see you, that they'll be like, yes, I recognise the logo, or it might be a picture of the church building or something like that. I'm going to go ahead and add one. So you just click on this little plus sign and, oh no, don't want to write a post. No, not the little plus sign, you want to update it, sorry. So I want to update the profile. I'm going to upload a photo because I want to upload it from my computer. Go onto my pictures. So I'm going to choose this, which is an old logo that the church that I attend used to use. So I'm gonna use this. So you can see when you choose it, you can edit it. You can zoom in a little bit. You can sort of move it around. Obviously, you just need to play around a little bit and get it in the right spot so it looks good. That looks good. So I'm going to save that, and then it's going to appear on the page. My computer's been a little bit slow. There we go. So I've got my profile picture. You can add a cover image. So this is something that it's like a banner image on a website. Always appears. With cover images, I always. There's a bit of a temptation I've seen with some churches, and there's nothing wrong with this, but a lot of you look at some church pages, and they will have a lot of pictures that are of the building. And obviously some of our churches have beautiful buildings and there's nothing wrong with our buildings. But I always think, for me anyway, church is more about like the people and the community. So when you're thinking about the images, obviously, of course, you can share images of your building, but you almost you need to think, how are you putting your church across through the images you're using, if that makes sense? Because you look at some and it's as if no one attends it because you never see any pictures of people. And I know there's the whole thing with GDPR, which obviously we have to be aware of. But I always think the cover image is a great place to maybe have some people featured. Or you might have an up and coming event and you've got a poster that you could share about the event. So it's sort of a great place. It's a bit like a notice board. You could have that on. Or if you've got a really stunning picture of your church, then that's fine as well. But I'm just going to go ahead and add a cover image. So having said all that about having people, I'm going to actually add just one of. This is in Aysgarth in North Yorkshire, which is a stunning part of the world. So I'm just going to, again, now cover photos, as you can see, they have a certain dimension. They're quite long and wide, and they're quite long and thin. And so obviously not every image is going to be suitable for a cover image. It needs to be the right. And this is probably not quite right because it's cutting off the top of the church, but I'm going to just save that. And so here we go. So I've got my cover image, got my profile picture. And then if you look at the side here, these options, then you can see there's the about section. So I'm going to go on about, and you can see that all of this is blank at the moment. And obviously, if people are going to come across your page, you need to give them the information that they need. Because you might have somebody who wants to email you or who wants to phone you up, who wants to see your website, who maybe some people who want to know what time your service takes place, etc. And this is all information that needs to be present. And so make sure that you can update this. And again, you've got the edit about. So this is the little short description. You only have 255 characters, so you don't have a lot of characters. So just think, again, like with the cover image, what you know, what do you want to put across in this short little piece of text? Because this is, I suppose, going out to the public, isn't it? You know, the Facebook is about, it's a public place, and this is, you got to think about the new person who's maybe doesn't go to church, and they might be interacting with your Facebook page. What type of language can you use that they're going to understand, that they're going to find helpful? So I always think with this, maybe try and avoid some of the churchy terms if you can, which people might not always understand. But I'm just going to just make something up. So this is not a good example, by the way, of a description. I'm just putting something so you can see how it works. Obviously, yours will be much better thought out, and the grammar will be much better as well. You have capital letters. So I'm just going to say that. And so you can see that that's you need to just think about that. Again, you can add a website. So make sure if you've got a website, if you've got other social media platforms, so make sure that you add those in. So you can add an email address, edit other accounts. I think this is where you can add, you can add an Instagram account. If you've got a Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, WhatsApp, all this type of thing, you can add those there. And this is the story where you can have the story. It's all pretty self-explanatory. You just got to, it just shows you how easy though it is just to create a page, and just take a bit of time to do the about section. And then obviously once you've got a page, you want to then be able to share content and share posts. And obviously that's what social media is all about. It's about sharing things. And like I said, some of you might have done the live video in, so you can do live video. But if you tap on this box, which is create a post, this is where you can type a message. You know, and on Facebook, the message can be as long as you want. There's no restrictions. Like on Twitter, they have a set word limit, whereas on Facebook there's not. You can add photos and videos. Again, with videos, there's no limit in terms of how long the video can be. I mean, with videos, there are some certain guidelines, and there's some certain things you have to adhere to in terms of the video files you use and the size, etc. So, but you can add videos are really good, a really effective thing to add on to Facebook, and you can see there's various options here that you can do. I mean, sadly, you can't share files on Facebook. It's really mainly images, videos, text, live videos. I mean, and there's this thing here called publishing tools. Facebook is great because you don't have to just log on and post there and then. You can click onto this bit, and as a page, you can use these are called like the publishing tools, and you can actually schedule posts. So you can create a post and you can schedule it to post in 2 hours time, or it could be posted in a day's time or a week's time. So you can see that when you're thinking of managing Facebook, it doesn't have to be just there and then. You could just probably log on for a couple of hours, do all your scheduling for your posts, and then that's it. You know, you don't have to keep coming back to it. But yeah, I mean, there's I could spend all night going through this probably. There's loads of stuff. I mean, there's an inbox. So the great thing about a page as well is that it comes with a direct messaging service. So if someone wants to message you directly, your church, could be to ask anything. Maybe you've got a food bank and they want to message you about that, or maybe about what time your services are, etc. People can message you directly, and you can respond to those questions. And this is all private. This is a private domain. So when people message you the people won't see your response. So this is all private, and which is again a really useful feature. And just make sure that this is engaged and this is all working when you create your page. And as you can see, this is the insights bit. We're not going to go too deeply into that because again, I could spend all night on looking at the analytics and the data, but we're not going to focus on that so much, but that's something for you to explore perhaps. Maybe something we'll look at the next course, the social media for intermediates. That's just a really quick whistle-stop tour of pages. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen now. Okay. Brilliant. I'm just looking. I noticed in the conversation there's another question. So Helen, when you were saying, is it a good idea to add a loop video of the church community here rather than a photo? Do you mean that as in sharing that as a post, or as like one of the cover images, for example? As the cover, yeah. So yeah, I'd say this is a really good idea. So if some churches you will have seen for the cover image, instead of having a still image, some have used a video that is on loop. So it's like it could be a 20 or 30-second video clip, and it could be like a highlights reel of your church. So you might have people coming into the church for a service. You might have people, doing food bank or prayers or whatever. And I think it's just quite a dynamic way of showing people what your church is all about. And so if you're into videoing and you want to try that, yeah, I'd be all up for doing that. Brilliant. I'm just going to go, if there's no more questions, I'm going to go back into, I'm just conscious of time because I know we've not got loads of time tonight. There will be time for questions at the end and as we go, but I'm just going to go back to my PowerPoint now and just go through some more slides about some advice for what we could post if you've got a Facebook page. So let's just go back to the PowerPoint. Great. Brilliant. So what can I post? So this is an example of a post that we recently shared. So you can see you can share text. And as I said, there's no limit on the amount of text. You can share emojis. We like the little hand emojis. They're just, I don't know, you don't have to do that, but it's just something a little fun and just quite nice. It brightens it up a little bit. You can, as you can see, you can share links to websites. So we share a lot of news articles as a diocese. So we publish news from across the diocese on our website, and we post about it on Facebook. So we always link back to our website as like our main platform. But you can share images, videos, live videos. Another really cool thing is you can share others' content. And this is something I actually forgot to show you on Facebook, but if you go onto, let's say you went onto the Church of England's page and you found their most recent post, at the bottom there is an option that says share, and you can actually share other people's content onto your page. So you don't have to be the one creating all the content all the time. You can use other people's content. So as a church, I'd recommend keeping an eye on your diocese, because obviously they'll be sharing out content. So share their content, but then Church of England, maybe local schools or hospitals might have Facebook pages, and you could obviously share their content. You could probably create a list in your head of all the local groups and things that have Facebook pages, and you can hook up to them and share their things. But yeah, as I say, videos are a really great. I'd recommend doing videos on Facebook. It's proven that videos tend to get higher engagement compared to if you're just sharing an image or a piece of text. But it's also proven that if you just share a post with text, that doesn't get as much engagement as with an image. So having visual things with your posts is very powerful. So having images and videos, I would always try and use an image or a video if you can. You don't have to all the time, but it's just shown that it engages people more. You've got to think, going back to the beginning when we talked about all those people who use social media on their phones. Obviously on a phone, what you do is you scroll, don't you? When you're on a smartphone, you scroll. And then when you're on Facebook, you'll have people scrolling down their timelines. And what you want to try and do is stop the scroll. You want to stop people in the tracks because they've seen a really cool image or a video that you've shared. And that's why images and videos are so powerful, because it's that visual thing that people really connect with. And so who will see it? So when you share something, people who follow or like your page. Now, you might ask a very good question that says, what's the difference between someone who follows your page or likes your page? Now, this is one of those things that I've looked up loads of times because I sort of keep forgetting what the difference is. There's not a huge amount of difference between the two. There's like a subtle difference, but basically you don't really need to worry too much about that. But if you've got someone who follows your page or likes your page, they will receive your content. They will see your content. But then people who will see it, also friends of people who follow or like your page. So if you've got someone who follows your page or likes it and they share your content, so you might put something that they really like and they share it onto their profile, you can then see the possibilities for all their friends then to see that content. So that's why Facebook can be so powerful, because in terms of reaching people, it's not just limited to your followers. It's got the potential to reach hundreds more people, because if you've got your followers sharing your content, their friends will see it. But also organizations and creators of other pages, if you tag them. So when you share a post like this one on the left-hand side, let's say it's a post about another church, or it might be a post about your local school. And if they've got a page, you can tag them in within your post. And you do that by using the @ sign on your keyboard. So the @ sign, which is used when you do an email, if you put @ and then you type in the name of the other page that you want to tag, then that's what you do when you tag someone in your post. And when you post it, that page then gets an alert to say that Diocese of Leeds has just tagged you in their post. And then the last one, anyone can potentially see your post if you use paid promotion. So there's a thing called Facebook advertising, and you can actually spend money to force your post onto people's timelines, if that makes sense. You can spend money and it creates an advert, and it's a bit like a TV advert but on social media. And depending on how much you spend, that then equates to how many extra people see your post. We're not going to go into that, but again, if you want to share something which thousands of people see, then you could think of paid promotion. You could think of doing advertising. So we're just going to move swiftly on because I'm just looking at time. So top tips for posting. So it's not quite more the merrier, but regular updating is important. How much can you commit to? So it's very easy to create a page and think, right, I've got to post something every day, but that might not be realistic. I mean, how has it been working for the diocese, and it is part of my job to manage a Facebook account? It can be a time-consuming thing. So, but it's not to say you shouldn't have one. You can put different amounts of time into it. So you could but still try and post regular. That might just be once a week. That's still posting regular, or it might be 2 times a week. But try and make it sustainable, if that makes sense. And then post at times of the day when your audience is online. So think about when you're sharing content, when is your audience online? Now, typically, they say 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 4 p.m., 8 p.m. And that's just to coincide with when people roughly might be looking at their Facebook. So 8 a.m. because it's first thing on the morning. And I can put my hand up and say that that's something I'm guilty of, is when I get up looking at my Facebook on my phone. 12 p.m. because that's around lunchtime. 4 p.m. because maybe that's when people are leaving work. 8 p.m. is obviously in the evening when people might be sat in their living rooms and looking at their Facebook account. So look for a mix of media, like we said, mixture of image and videos. And it's not only about service times. Try and think, obviously it's very difficult at the moment, but when obviously we're back into our buildings, can you get pictures from events, news articles that are interesting, talked about sharing someone else's content, like the Church of England, your diocese, or like a worship band or something. And 20% broadcast, 80% conversation. Remember, I mean, I remember one of the things on the Jamboard, someone put one of the words was conversation. And social media is about that conversation. It's not, yes, you can use it as a space to broadcast your events and information and things that are going on in your church, but it's also a place to build relationship and to engage with people. So try and think of ways that you can have conversation. You can pin the most important or most engaging of your post at the top of your page. Again, this isn't something I showed you it's not something I showed you when I took you around Facebook, but it's a feature you can look into doing. But basically what it does is it pins a post that you might want right at the top of your page. And it's like pinning it like a pin board. And it means that when anyone accesses your page, it's the first thing they see. And when you're posting, think about location. Can you add the location in? Because people might search via location. So think about that. And then the caption. So first line is really important because especially if people are looking at it on a mobile phone, there's only a certain amount of screen space on a phone. So you've got to go into their shoes, and when they're scrolling, and if you put a massive long caption, they're not going to automatically see the whole caption, because if it's on a phone, Facebook will cut it off after the first 2 or 3 lines. And it's only if people click on read more on that post that they will then go on to read the whole caption. So the first couple of lines are really important. Try and make them engaging, go straight to the point and when you post into Facebook. And probably having great big long captions is probably not the best thing. But image, again, think, can you use people in your image? I mean, this is a beautiful image, isn't it, of a church. This is from St. Bennet Fink Church in Tottenham. And you can see it's got lots of depth to it. That's certainly a picture that might stop me if I was scrolling on Facebook. It's just got lots to it. And it's a very eye-catching photo. But then can you have a call to action as well in your post? Can you add a link like the website link that I was showing on the previous page? Or can you ask people to sign up to something? Can there be a purpose to your post? Think to yourself when you're posting, you're asking people to do something. I mean, you might not be, you might just be sharing something, but you could add a call to action. Brilliant. And again, just really quickly, I'm just conscious of time, but here's just some suggestions as to the things you could post. So could you share faith? Can you do live video? Can you do thoughts and stories, which are really popular and powerful? Can you add posts that it's almost welcoming people? Community celebrations, invitations to join your church or your community. Can you invite people to a service, for example? Can you look into the local news? Can you share the local news? Can you pray? That spirituality, all that type of stuff. Can you include that? Take people behind the scenes. Social media is a lot about it. Is about that. It's about taking people inside your church and giving them a taste of what your church is about. And can you think about the cares that your community have? Can you share things? Can you engage with in that in some way? And again, like social conscience. And I realise I'm going through these really quickly just because of time. But right now, over to you. So I just want to, you've had enough of listening to me. I just want to do another little quick task. And this is just going to be just 2 or 3 minutes. But here's a picture. And what I want you to do with your pen and paper, if you can have it handy, is I want you to try creating a post for Facebook. So I want to imagine, I realize that this your church might be, you know, quite different to this, but if you just sort of pretend this is your church and this is an image that's been taken during worship at your church, and I want you to, using your pen and paper, just write down a post that's to go on your Facebook page. So you're coming up with the caption, basically. This is the picture. Can you write the caption that's going to go with this? So imagine you're going to be sharing this on your Facebook page. So if you just want to have a little go, and bear in mind what we've just been talking about in terms of trying to keep it shorter rather than longer, and thinking about the first couple of lines been really important, and thinking about language and who your audience is, all that type of thing. So I'm gonna stop talking now. I'm just going to give you 2 or 3 minutes to do that. I'm just going to unshare this, and if you just want to sort of maybe just finish off, great. But I just thought we probably won't have time to go around everyone, but if anyone, just maybe the first 2 or 3, if anyone's eager, maybe just to share the caption that they wrote, that might be quite nice.
It's not quite my scene. I'm a character who prefers what Cromwell called a box of whistles, but in the spirit of the picture, what I've put down is "Come praise with us."
Yeah, definitely just simple and say to the point, and that has that welcoming. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I realise it's perhaps not everyone's churchmanship, that image, but yes. Anyone else?
Praise, share, enjoy. Join us at St Albans.
Brilliant. That's great. Yeah.
I've put come find out more. Just come find out more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. No, I think just really sharp and powerful. That's, yeah, and it's almost like a rhetorical thing, isn't it? It's sort of like that people are like, yeah. I suppose you then probably need to think, if you're wanting obviously people to come to one of your services or whatever, then how people also probably need the information to, but obviously if they clicked onto your page, they'd then be able to find your address and things. So that's where that would come in. But shall we just have one last one that someone's done, if anyone wants to? Not a problem. No, that's fine. Well, that's great. Thank you for that. Hopefully that just gives you a bit of a flavour. So we're gonna move on now quickly to Instagram, and we're just going to fly through this. And again, this is going to involve there's going to be using the Jamboard at the end, but we're going to go back to the PowerPoint, and this is going to involve, unfortunately, it's more of me talking, but via some videos, because I couldn't work out how to share my mobile phone with this, which would have been very cool. But basically, Instagram is not based on a computer; it's mainly on a phone or like an iPad or something. So that's why I've recorded videos on my phone of me going through Instagram, and so I'll be stopping and playing those to you. And I'm just going to basically take you through a quick tour of Instagram, how to post on Instagram, and then we're going to look into Instagram stories as well. All right, so bear with me a second. I'm just going to go back onto my PowerPoint. Here we go. Okay, so Instagram, here we go. You can see just a flavor again of how big it is. In 2007, it didn't even exist, but now it's got 1 billion people. It's bigger than Twitter. I mean, you might automatically think in terms of sizes of platforms, Facebook is the biggest, but anything called Twitter is the second largest. But no, it's not. Instagram is like a lot bigger than Twitter now. It's a really popular platform, and it's now bigger than Twitter. And I mean, I would say if you're a church and you're not on social media, then Facebook is your first point of call. But then if you're wanting to then explore another platform, Instagram is a great one to explore. But I'd only say do that if you're on Facebook and you're really comfortable with Facebook, and you obviously, it's going back to that point to not being too overwhelmed and having too much to do. But Instagram, it is a platform that I like, and yeah, particularly use it if you're trying to attract millennials or teenagers. So if you actually look at in terms of the age groups of people who use the different social medias, Facebook is quite broad, but roughly you tend to get people who are not sort of millennials or teenagers, or like people of the older generations who use Facebook. Doesn't mean that you get younger people using Facebook too, but generally they're on platforms like Instagram. So you'll get teenagers in particular who that might be their first, Instagram might be their first platform that they use. And it's a great way of reaching those age groups. It's more quality over quantity. Instagram is mainly about sharing images and videos. So when you share something on Instagram, it's got to have an image or a video with it. And it's about sharing those quality images. And it's about bringing people into the church. Again, a bit like the Facebook, can you bring, because it's using a lot of imagery, can you give them almost a front row seat into what's going on in the life of the church, give them a behind the scenes. Remember your hashtags. We're going to talk about hashtags soon. I know that was one of the questions one of you had. And Instagram works slightly different to Facebook, as it doesn't have separate. Like Facebook has, like you have a profile and then you have a page or a group. Instagram doesn't have any of that. It's just basically you just have an Instagram account or an Instagram profile, and when you set that up, you can choose for it either to be a personal one or like a business one or a church one. So make sure that you follow if you've got a Facebook profile on Instagram, you can follow people. It's different to having friends. You have followers instead of friends, and so you can follow like-minded accounts and your people in your congregation. Share the love. This is basically, I won't dwell too much on this, but this is just the idea that if you want people to engage and like your content on something like Instagram, you've got to remember that you've got to perhaps be the first to do that. You've got to go and like and share content and comment on things first. You can't always expect people are going to do it to you straight away. And are your photos representative of those in your church? So again, we want to use really attractive photos, but are they representative? That's an important question. So what is Instagram? I'm just going to play, it's about 5 minutes, this video. Hopefully you can all hear it. Someone give me a shout if you can't. But this is me taking you through what is Instagram.
So what is Instagram? So Instagram is a social media platform like Facebook, like Twitter, but it is a little bit different to those because it's predominantly used on a mobile, smartphone, or a tablet. And this is because Instagram is predominantly about taking pictures on your smartphone or your tablet and sharing them with friends and people who follow you. So I'm just going to give you a quick tour and show you what Instagram looks like and some of its features. So this is my phone. If I scroll across, you can see that Instagram is in the bottom left of my screen and it appears as an app on my smartphone. If I tap it, it opens up my profile, which is already set up, and this is the Diocese of Leeds profile. And because I'm logged in, it automatically saves my credentials and I can just tap on the app and access it whenever I want without having to keep putting the password and username in. So this is Instagram. This is what appears when you first click onto it. And this is the home screen, or what you might call the timeline, which is very similar to what you get on Facebook. So you can see on the timeline there's lots going on here, but predominantly you can see that there are posts which include images and text which people have shared. For example, this one from Mandy Coots, who works at Bradford Cathedral. She shared this picture and it includes a comment below using hashtags. And if I keep scrolling down this screen, you'll see that there's various posts and videos, adverts, lots going on. And this is because what appears here is predominantly the content, the posts that are shared by people that the Diocese of Leeds follows, that by the people that this account follows. So, for example, Missional Generation and the Archbishop of Canterbury, they're two of the people that we follow, and so one of their most recent posts that they have shared has appeared. And if I keep scrolling, you can see that adverts also appear, and this is very much like in Facebook as well. So you can see that these posts that people have shared predominantly include still images and then the little pieces of text or comments below. You can also find videos on Instagram, and people do share videos. Generally, they only last up to a minute, to videos. So is why you tend to find a lot of still images being shared. Now, what can I do with these posts? Well, like on Facebook, if you have a friend who shares something, you can like it. So the like on Instagram is the little heart, and I can tap it, goes red, and it means that I've liked this particular post. You can tap the little speech bubble and you can share a comment. So you can comment and like on people's content and on their posts. Okay, so what else is on Instagram? You can see at the top that there's a little camera, and if you tap on that, then this is how you can take a picture from your phone. You can take it and then you can share that immediately to your Instagram, but we're not going to do that yet. You can also see that there's these little circles, and these are Instagram stories, and we're going to come back to those later as well. So let's focus our attention on the bar at the bottom. There's the little home button, the little house, which is black, and that's because we're on the home section at the moment. If I tap the little magnifying glass, this is the search section, and you can search for people's accounts or via hashtags. So let's say that I wanted to search for Wakefield Cathedral. If I start typing it, then you can see it appears at the top and I can tap it. And here is Wakefield Cathedral's account. And you can view some of their posts that they've shared recently. But you can also search via tags, hashtags, ones that are trending at the moment, or ones that you might be using within your church. You can search via places, so via a location. So I can search via Wakefield, for example, and it will give you the top or most recent results for that location. So that's a search. Now the next option is a little box with a cross in it. If I tap that, this is how you share posts that are already saved, images or videos already saved to your device, to your phone or to your iPad. So you can see that I can scroll through my images and I could tap on one of those and I could share it, but we're not going to do that yet. We're going to explore how you do that in a future video. And then you've got the little love heart. Now this shows you, it's like a notifications page. Whenever someone likes any of your content or comments on it, or they might even include your account in one of their comments when they share something, this all appears here. And it's a great way of keeping on top of who is engaging with your content. And then next is the little person, and this is your home screen, as it were. This is your account screen. And this is, as you can see, includes your profile picture. It tells you how many posts you've shared, the number of followers, the amount following you. You can include a name, the type of organization that you are, and you can include a little caption, a little piece of information to introduce yourself and who you are. And you can include a web link and an address. You can see, because I've got logged into the account of the Diocese of Leeds, I can edit the profile and I can do other various things. And this is called my grid. This is basically all of the past posts that the Diocese of Leeds has shared, and you can see that it collects all of them within a grid. And anyone visiting the profile or the page, the account, can scroll through the grid and see the type of content that you have shared in times gone by. So that's a really quick whistle-stop tour of Instagram.
There we go. And then we're just going to watch another, just probably before we move on, has anyone's just got, I'm just so conscious it's just me talking quite a lot. Has anyone got any sort of, following that video, anything they want to raise about Instagram?
Were we supposed to be able to see things along the bottom of the Instagram screen on your phone? I couldn't see any of the icons you were talking about that you were clicking on.
I apologize. Was that because there was like the play bar, was there? Or something?
Yes, exactly.
Right. That's a bit frustrating. Yes, you should have been able to see. Maybe I can. Probably not going to be the best view, but I could show you quickly what you should have seen, like on my camera. So here's my mobile phone. You can see the little bit.
Okay. I see them
symbols. Now, can you? I don't know if they can see them clearly or not, but you can see there's a little house symbol.
Yes, I can see them.
Yeah, so that's what you should have seen. So that's what I was describing when I was talking through it. Yeah. So there's another video now, and this is basically going to show you how you share content via your Instagram, and hopefully you can see all of this. But apologies if not. Okay. Oh no, here we go. We'll play it.
So how do we post on Instagram or share something? Well, the first thing we need to do is access the Instagram app via your phone or tablet.
Oh, sorry, I accidentally clicked off it. Just moving my screen around. Okay, right, here we go.
So how do we post on Instagram or share something? Well, the first thing we need to do is access the Instagram app via your phone or tablet. So I'm on my phone, and as you can see, the Instagram app is here on the bottom left. So if you tap that, then your Instagram page will automatically open. Now, if you want to share something, some content, then you need to go to the bar at the bottom with the various options, and you need to go to the middle one, which is a box with a cross in it. And if you tap that, then you can see that this now appears. And what it's done is Instagram has taken you to your photo library, so to the photos that are on the device that you're accessing Instagram on. And you can see, if I scroll here, these are all the images that are on my phone, and I can share any of these, or the videos if they are 60 seconds or less. And you can post one image. So this image is selected, which is the most recent one that I took on my phone. But you can also select multiple images. So if I want to select more than one, which I want to do today, then you can see that there's these little black circles on the right hand side. And if I tap the far right one, which you can see is highlighted blue, it gives you an option to select more than one image, and I've selected the first two because these are the ones that I want to share. And when you've selected an image, you can also drag the photo, you can adjust how it appears. I can do the same with the second one as well. Or if I'm just going to share one of them, I just share one of the images, and you can see that there's this little option on the left, which is the black box with the two arrows. And if I select that, then it changes the size of the photo, so it shows the entire photo. And if I tap it again, then it zooms in and it shares. It almost crops the image to this square shape. But I want to share multiple images, so I'm going to. So if you tap that, and I'm going to share this one, I'm just going to adjust it a little bit. Then I'm going to tap the second one. And I'm just going to make sure it's looking okay. Brilliant. And then what I need to do next is hit the next button, which is at the top right. If I tap that, then it takes me to this next screen. And here, this is where you can edit your photos. Now, you don't have to edit them. You might think that they look fine as they are, and you'd hit the next button. But what Instagram gives you is these are called filters. And if you go through them, you can see that it gives the images a different look, each filter. And these are quite cool, and they can actually enhance the look of an image. And I tend to like the crema filter. You can see it just gives it a certain feel. And if you tap on the filter, there we go, then you can see there's a little bar, and you can actually adjust out of 100 how much the filter affects the image. So 100 is it affects it fully, but you can reduce it down as well. I tend to sort of reduce it down to about, I'm going to probably do about 70, 69, 70, then press done. And there's the image, like so. So you hit next, and then this is where you can type a caption in, and you can also do things like tag people. You can add the location. The location is a really good thing to do because people can search content on Instagram by the location, so it's always important to try and include one if you can, because people might then come across your post. And this is at Eldwick Church. So I'm going to go into the locations option. I'm going to type Eldwick, which is not spelled like that. Eldwick. There we go, in Bingley. So I'm going to put Eldwick as the location. I'm not going to tag anyone, but if you wanted to tag another Instagram account which your post was related to, then that's a really good idea as well. But I'm going to write a caption, some words to go with this image. I'm going to explain what it is. So if you just bear with me for a second. So this is Eldwick Church. And also I'm going to put the hashtag location. So I'm going to put hashtag Eldwick as well, like so. Hit OK. Just going to check finally that it all looks okay. Yeah, that looks looking all good. I've added the location. And then the last thing is to tap share. And you can see that it starts loading and it posts your image, which has just gone. And if you go back onto your homepage, onto your grid, you can see that it has appeared as well. That's how you share some images on Instagram.
There you go. So that's how I'm just going to move quickly on because I'm just conscious of time. I know it's nearly 9 o'clock, and it can be quite tiring when you're online for so long. And I'm just going to quickly go through some top tips for posting. I mean, this is similar to Facebook, but here's an Instagram post you can see again. And this is a really nice Instagram post that I found, and St. Peter's in Notting Hill. And I mean, the first thing is the image. I mean, it's a great image. it's just got like lovely colours, and obviously got this woman who's looking a bit overly happy, but it's just caught her in midair jumping, and it's just quite a cool image. And like I said, stop the scroll. And as you can see, the image is a portrait. I mean, you can post landscape images as well, but portrait ones work really nice on Instagram. And you can see that, again, like mine, this has got the location. So always try and include the location if you can of a post, because people might search via location, and it just means that your post has got more likelihood of being found by other people. And again, the caption, use personality. What's your personality as a church? And you can see this has got a lot of personality. It says, hey everyone, Kate here, the youth and children's pastor at St. Peter's. My prayer for you today is to live in freedom. I mean, this has obviously got a certain, feel and language to it. But then caption, can you use a question? Questions are really good because, again, it's about trying to get that engagement, not just broadcasting. Tell a story. Using the first person is nice. It makes it more personable. A call to action. And the frustrating thing with Instagram, like on Facebook, when you post something, you can include a link. On Instagram, you can't do that. But what you can do, you might remember from my first video, is you can include a link on your profile in what's called your bio, which is the little piece of information in your profile. And so if you wanted people to find a particular link, you can put the link in the bio, and that's why it says link to bio. And I know one of you mentioned about hashtags. Now, they're a bit confusing and hard to explain, but they're obviously, in essence, they're down here. So this one's got a lot of hashtags on it. It's basically the hashtag sign, which I'm sure you all know what that is. It's a hashtag sign followed by a word or a phrase. And basically, hashtags are a great way of meaning that your post can, a bit like the location, they've then got the potential to reach out further. So at the moment, obviously, COVID-19 is like such a popular word because of the whole circumstance and the situation. So on platforms like Twitter and on Instagram, the hashtag COVID-19 is a very popular hashtag. And that basically means that there's millions, thousands of people using that same hashtag. So when people are sharing their content, they're using that same hashtag. And that means if you share something on Instagram and you use a hashtag which others are using, it almost collects all of those posts that are using the same hashtag. And so you can, hopefully I've explained that in a simple way. Apologies if not, but you can see that there's that potential for people who don't follow your page to see what you're sharing because you're using a particular hashtag. It's almost like entering into a big conversation is using a hashtag. So you got to try and think what hashtags you can use, particularly on a platform like Instagram. And you can see, don't be afraid of using lots of them, and try and use ones that are trending. And the more that you use, the more likelihood that you'll get others to see it because they'll be using the same hashtag as well. That's just a really quick thing about hashtags. Again, this is the same thing as the Facebook about what shall we post. I'm just going to skim past this because of time. But again, here's just some thoughts and ideas about the types of things you could be posting on Instagram. And then really quickly, this is to finish off. We're just going to look at Instagram stories. And I've got another little video, but Instagram stories, as I explained on this video, they basically capture a feature that lets users post photos and videos that vanish after 24 hours. I don't know if you've come across them before, but they're an increasingly popular feature on platforms like Instagram and Facebook. And they're designed to be quick and non-professional. They can help tell a story of a church event, service, or campaign. And if you're confused, if you don't know what an Instagram story looks like, I'm going to show you now in this video. So here we go.
So let's check out Instagram stories. The first thing we need to do, of course, is open Instagram. So let's tap the app. Here we go. Here's the Instagram. And you can immediately see at the top some circles. And if you scroll across, there's lots of them appearing. And these are where you access the Instagram stories. Now, these ones appear because these are accounts that the Diocese of Leeds Instagram follows. So, for example, Leeds Beckett, English Cathedrals, HTB, C of E Portsmouth, etc. And these ones appear because these are the stories that are currently live from the accounts that the Diocese of Leeds follows, if that makes sense. So let's look at some of them together. So let's have a scroll through. Let's look at, for example, St. Mark's in Harrogate. You can see immediately that this has got a mixture of some text that's been typed. It's got some captions, some posts. This is a little video that's been uploaded with some donut emojis. And you can see that they only last for a few seconds, that they're very quick, and it's telling a visual story. Let's look at some others together. So, for example, the Church of England. You can see this is a still image, and you can see the bar at the top, which shows you how long it lasts. Very quick. Again, this is a still image with lots of nice text and images, and that gives you a sense as to what Instagram stories are like and what they involve. Let's look at Christine.
I'm in my
so this is a video
in the garage.
and this has got again a caption, an emoji,
tomorrow for Christian Aid.
And that's for Christian Aid. Ripon Cathedral. Here's just a still image again with some information on. So there you go. There's Instagram stories. And they only last for 24 hours, remember, so they're very temporary. But they're a really cool way of sharing a church event or the day in the life of, something like that. So let's try adding one together to give you an idea of how you add an Instagram story. So in the top left, you can see a caption which says your story, and it's got the Diocese of Leeds logo. If we tap that, then it automatically opens the camera of my phone that I'm operating the app from. This is my bedroom, by the way. And let's take a picture of my guitar amp. So if you click the white circle, then it takes an image of my amp. There we go. So if I was going to share this as a story on the Instagram, I could add lots of things to it. Let's add some text, for example, a little caption. At the top right, there's a capital A and a lowercase a. If you tap that, then it allows you to type a caption. So let's put guitar amp exclamation mark, and you can change the font. So at the top it says typewriter. You can change that to strong, change it to classic. There's various options, but I quite like typewriter. You can give it a little background as well. This is a white background, but you can change that. You can give it an orange background or a pink one, a green one. Let's give it a yellow one. There you go. And then you can change the size of the font, move it around. There we go. And also at the top, there's an option to add emojis or Gifs. And emojis are these little animated images or text. But you can search for what type you want. So let's type in guitar. And if you can see that there's a guitar emoji appeared, and these GIFs are little animated things which are quite cool. Let's add this cat that's playing a guitar. I quite like that. That's quite cool. And you can drag that. You can enlarge it. You can make it smaller. Let's put it about there. And there you go. And now my Instagram story is good to go. To add it, what I need to do is to press the Your Stories at the bottom left, and that adds it to your Instagram story, and everyone else who follows you will be able to see it. So if we tap that, it's then added it. So that's how you add an Instagram story, and you can see that you can then build that up and have lots of them together and retelling something. That's Instagram stories.
Brilliant. So hopefully that just gives you a bit of a flavour as to how you add them, what they are, and they're a very popular feature. And you could probably get a bit of an understanding there as to how you could maybe use them in your church if you've got an event or a service, and if you've got about 10 of those all in a row, it's like a story out of pictures, and they're a cool way of sharing things and content. There we go. So we're coming towards the end now, but again, just a bit more help on hashtags. so hashtags, as I said before, help users find your content. Use them to link your post in with what people might be searching for. So again, think of the hashtags that people might be searching for. So you can use hashtags that relate to a location or a particular thing that's happening, like the COVID-19 in the news at the moment. You might have it in a church, some sort of hashtag related to prayer or to worship or to God or to Jesus, for example. And it's a way of linking into what people are searching for. So topics, events, or even things that are trending. Each post should have a hashtag if you're trying to get it noticed. And you might want to create your own hashtag to link your content. So if you've got like a big event going on, or you've got like a campaign going on at your church, or maybe there's one in the diocese or in the Church of England, like Thy Kingdom Come, for example, they've got a hashtag that they've created for their thing, the thing that happens next, obviously from Ascension next week. I think it's hashtag prayer and care or something, but that's basically a hashtag that they've created for Thy Kingdom Come, and they're encouraging everyone who's getting involved with Thy Kingdom Come to use that hashtag. So it's a way of linking all that content together and it being shared by others, and yeah, to aggregate the conversation about you. Brilliant. So just really quickly, just to finish off then, we're going to go on to Jamboard and just do another really quick collaborative task. So on Jamboard, I've created another page with an Instagram post that I've shared on the Diocese of Leeds. And I want you to be as honest as possible, but I want you to comment on it. So you can use the little post-its again. And I want you to say what's good about it, or is there anything that can be improved about this Instagram post? Again, bearing in mind all the stuff that we have discussed and that we've been exploring about social media and about the things you need to be doing when you're posting. So I'm just going to stop presenting. If you want to go on to Helen's just asking, how do you know what hashtags are trending? So basically, well, on Twitter, if you're on Twitter, because Twitter's a place where lots of hashtags are used, then if you go onto the Twitter homepage, there actually is down the side a section called trending tweets. So on Twitter, it's very easy to find what hashtags are trending. But on Instagram, it's a bit of trial and error. I mean, you can go on the search bit on Instagram and you can search for hashtags, and it'll actually tell you how many people have used that hashtag. So if you've got a hashtag which only like 100 people have used, it's not really trending. But if you've got one which like 1 million people have used, you obviously know that's a very popular hashtag. And when you're typing them into your post, if you start typing the hashtag, it'll actually, if that hashtag has been used before, it will actually tell you that it's been used before, and it'll tell you how many people have used it. So that's just a way of knowing how many people have used the hashtag and how popular it is, how trendy it is. But yeah, if you want, I just want to encourage you, if you want to go onto Jamboard, so I'm just gonna, here we go. I'm just gonna add a post-it note. So yeah, so feel free to just go onto the Jamboard. There's the second. See, I don't know if it's just automatically coming up, but there should be a page with an Instagram screenshot in the middle, and if you could just add a post-it note and just sort of put, is there anything that you like about it, anything that you think that's good, anything that maybe could be changed. If you're only seeing the first Jamboard that we did at the start, you might need to go to the top and there's like some arrows and you can scroll between screens. But if you're just going to give you some time to do that, if that's okay. The dog is very cute. I will give you that. So I mean, again, it's just looking at that post, and I mean the main thing probably you might say is like the image. It's like it is such a lovely image, and I think having a little furry friend in the image always helps. But you know, cats and dogs are very popular on things like Instagram. So if you can if you can get a vicar with a dog, that's definitely a winner. But it's just obviously there's a lovely smile. It's got a person in it, and I mean, the background's really nice. The way that it's lit is lovely. But then the caption as well. I don't know what you think to the caption. It's obviously tried to use hashtags, tried to use emojis, and obviously just sort of having a with the caption was trying to just be a little bit having a little bit of fun and saying at a perfect time, you know. It's just trying to make it a bit more engaging and eye-catching. But yeah, warm, inviting picture, informal. You know, it's colourful. Yeah, lots of colours, great. Yeah, it's good to have like those, although black and white images can be quite cool as well to use. But yeah, you see that some of the hashtags we've used, obviously like use hashtag dogs, which you can imagine is quite a popular hashtag. There'll be lots of dog images on Instagram, but then there's like hashtag Church of England. There's like some dices of these ones that we've used, and you can see how we've tried to that we use these full stops as well when we. So we've got the text and we've got like those 2 full stops in the hashtags. That's like to just create a little bit of space and space it out. Just makes it look a bit nicer. But yeah, we'll just have a couple more minutes because I realise it is getting a bit late now, and we're coming towards the end of the evening. So if you're just doing one, if you just sort of want to just finish off what you're doing, and then you're right. Yes, it must have been. So it looks like harvest, doesn't it? I'm trying to make out what's some. Just trying to work out what food's in the background. Nesquik, I think, or something. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, let's just bring that to a close. And if you want to sort of come back to the teams, what I'd like you to do now, and we are coming towards the end, is if hopefully you've all been able to access the quiz. It shouldn't take you long. It's just like multiple choices, about 8 questions. I'd just like you to have a go at that, and it's just testing a bit of your social media knowledge, and just a bit of fun as well. So if you want to have a go at your quiz, that would be quite cool. And after this, I've just got 1 or 2 last things to say, and then if anyone's got any questions, we'll have like 5 minutes, just sort of 5-10 minutes if you want to ask anything or make a comment. That'd be good.
Where is the quiz, Richard? Where's the quiz, Richard? Where is the quiz, Richard?
So did you get? I think I emailed it out. It will have been on. I know some of you. I sent 2 emails, and one of them had this Microsoft Teams link on, and then the second one had the link to the quiz on it. So it'll be on your email somewhere. I know some of you. I just sent you 1 email with all the links on. but it'll be on your email. Will the quiz? But if you need me to send it across to you again, then I might be able to type it into this chat actually. Let me just try doing that.
I haven't got it on either of those emails I got from you.
Ah, apologies about that. I must have. Let me share it here so you can access it. Okay, right. I'm going to try pasting it into the chat, into the Teams chat. There you go. Hopefully you can click on that now and it'll take you to it, hopefully. Thank you. I can see that some of you have responded already to that. I sort of realised with this quiz as well. On some of the questions, I should have probably made it more obvious that whereas with there's 2 answers for some of the questions, but that doesn't matter. Have you managed to find that, Renee? Is that okay?
Yeah, I have, yeah, thanks.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't realise there were some questions with more than one.
I know. I apologise. I didn't make that quite clear enough in the questioning. I should have said tick 2 or something.
Do we go straight on to the thank you page?
Well, when you've done it, and you've submitted it, and then if you just come back to Teams, and then we're just going to wrap up. Has everyone done that? Is that okay? Brilliant, great. So, I say we'll just have sort of 5 minutes or so for any questions we might have, and just to say, following this, if anyone has any questions that they think of or that you've not had a chance to ask, then you can always email me. You know, I don't mind. Please do. I'm here to help if I can. So, but I'm just going to share my screen really quickly. I just wanted to take you through this. So we've done the quiz. So I just wanted to let you know that if you want to be part of this Facebook group, then you're welcome to be a part of it. This is called the Leeds CV Comms Champions. We basically set this up. It's a private Facebook group, and it's for anyone from like a church who is interested in social media or digital media, not just social media, but like websites or other digital stuff. And it's like a little community of people in churches who are involved in digital social media. And you can ask questions on there, you can share resources. I share stuff from time to time as well. And you're more than welcome to join it. So if you want to join it and you've got Facebook, then you need to type Leeds CV Comms Champions into Facebook and ask to join it. So it's this at the top, Leeds C of E Comms Champions. If you type that into your search bar, you should find it. I'll just give you a few seconds if you want to note that down. So it's, yeah, Leeds C of E Comms Champions. And just to say, I will be emailing out a thank you, but also an evaluation form. If you could be kind enough just to fill that out, I'll probably send that to you tomorrow. And if you could just obviously just having your feedback would be so appreciated, just for our other online sessions will be able to change things if anything can be improved, and that's really helpful. But I'll also be sending out a document with some useful links and some useful resources as well, just to help you with some things. But basically, yeah, questions. Has anyone got anything that they want to ask or say before we leave?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Regarding the pictures or videos you can put on Facebook, do you have to ask people's permission? Everyone who's on it, or what do you do about that? If
It's a bit of a grey area, definitely. I mean, like, especially now with GDPR, and because obviously an image of a person who you can identify from an image, that is almost classed now as like someone's data. It's like you can identify someone via that image. And so when you're sharing something on like Facebook, for example, or like on your website or on Instagram, then yes, you got to be really careful. I would say if it's a crowd and it's like the backs of people's heads and it's been taken at the back of a church, to me that's more than fine. You know, that's, and if it's obviously of buildings or whatever, there's no, you know, there's no need for permissions. But if you're obviously taking it of like one person, or there's like a group and there's maybe 4 or 5 people and you can clearly see their faces, then yes, I'd say you probably do need their permission to share that. I mean, some people go quite, I was going to say dramatic. It's not dramatic, but that some people use forms, so they'll have like permission forms, and it's like, I'd recommend for those for children. So if you take images of children, I'd say it's really good practice to have some sort of form and get the parent or guardian's signature, just so that covers you, and you can just show that if anyone asks you why you've got pictures of children. But I mean, like with the church I go to, that obviously like they know that certain like regular members, they know that they've got their permission. They don't have to give them a form every time they take a picture of them. I mean, like, especially if it's like the person preaching, I mean, they know they're going to have pictures taken of them, so there's not really that need like to ask permissions all the time. But I mean, sometimes if it's like an adult, I always think if it's like just verbally, if it's in an event and you just sort of ask people, say, oh, listen, we just want to take a picture, and obviously just tell people where you're going to put the image. So say if it's going to be, where it's going to be used, how it's going to be used. But yeah.
Okay, thanks, Richard.
Yeah. Has anyone got anything else? It's just quite funny. I can just see it's with some of it was happening with me, but because obviously it's got darker, so everyone's picture's a bit darker now.
If no one else has got a question, then I've got another one, and this is a general Facebook thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get something pop up, say Fred Blogs wants to be your friend on Facebook or something. Is that really Fred Blogs asking to be your friend, or is that just pop up? And you know, I don't know, where do these come from? I
know, it's weird, isn't it? I get the same. I get like people from other countries, people I've never heard of. I mean, I sort of generally think if I don't know the person, then I won't have them as a friend. I just think, yeah, like these random people. I mean, I suppose for like a church page, I'm less so, because I just think that's like a public page. So I really sort of don't mind who follows the page, and you can't really, because anyone can follow it. You can't really, you know, but if it's your personal profile and someone's added you who's a bit random, then I mean it's obviously up to you. But I yeah, it depends who you want to see your personal stuff, doesn't it? Really, like what you're posting and who you're comfortable seeing it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's personal choice, I suppose. But anyone, as say, if anyone thinks of a question like tomorrow or something or next week, you can email me. That's fine. But has anyone got anything immediately before we leave? No.
No.
Brilliant. Well, as I say, I will send an email with an evaluation if you can kind enough to fill that out. That's brilliant. Please follow our Comms Champions group if you want, and I will send a Word document with some links, which has a link to some free stock image websites, which are really useful. It has some links to like some national stuff, like some of their digital help and things, and I'll send that along to you. But I hope that's been useful. I know some of you will be coming to the next session in a couple of weeks' time, and I look forward to seeing you there. And that's going to be social media for intermediates. So it's going to be a bit more advanced. It's going to be looking a bit more in depth into some of the things that we can share as churches and some of the more technical things you can do on Facebook, I suppose. But thank you again. It's lovely to meet you, and I'll see some of you next time.